Hello and welcome to MusicSceneSD TV, the show where we drop a spotlight on San Diego's burgeoning music scene. Brought to you by EnterTalk.net and local Umbrella Media, who takes care of the print side of things. We're going to start the show off with, unfortunately, a little bit of bad news, which is that this year's Adams Avenue Street Fair has been canceled. Set to take place on September 18th and 19th. Unfortunately, circumstances have led to the cancellation. There was going to be over 100 bands, multiple stages, etc. We're going to have to wait until 2022 for an edition of it once more. Sorry to hear that it's gone away, but unfortunately, under the circumstances we're going through right now, there was no other way. We'll see you at the Adams Avenue Street Fair next year. If you're a Beatles fan, this is going to be your year. More than 5 decades since their split, the Beatles remain one of the world's most popular bands. On November 25th and 27th, there will be a new 3-part documentary airing on Disney+, The Beatles Get Back, directed by Peter Jackson, best known for his work on Lord of the Rings. There will be a box set with unreleased tracks and much more, but amongst the hoopla, we can expect a lot more shows, a lot more radio play, and a lot of attention drawn to the Beatles. And that's going to be true here in San Diego, probably more than anywhere else. Look for Beatles Fair to return to Queen Bee once more in 2022. While no performers have been announced yet, in the past they've had former Beatle Pete Best, Denny Lane of Wings, 60s hitmaker Billy J. Kramer, and many, many more. So this is a major event to look forward to, and we're really happy that it's coming back in 2022. Meanwhile, on August 27th and 28th, the San Diego Musical Theater Summer Concert Series returns to the Horton Grand Theater, which will feature costume tribute band Britain's Finest. These guys are amazing. They start the show out as the Fab Four in the little suits and then go on to Sgt. Pepper and the Let It Be era, changing costumes throughout. It's a lot of fun. Meanwhile, early rising Beatle fans will want to check out Brunch and Brews with the Beatles, a fundraiser for the OB Playhouse taking place on August 29th from 11:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. On hand will be the Rollers featuring Martin Martinariana, ex of Slide Away and True Stories, with funds going to support, of course, the OB Playhouse in Ocean Beach. That's a wonderful event. A little later on that same day, August 29th, at Humphrey's Backstage Live, there's going to be a special Sunday evening concert starting at 6 p.m. featuring the Baja Bugs, which includes Hector Penalosa, best known for his work with the Zeros and Flying Color. The highlight of this event is going to be that the Baja Bugs are performing 2 Beatles albums, Meet the Beatles and the Beatles' second album in their entirety with special guest performers. That's going to be a blast, so don't miss that one. Additionally, on September 12th, Classics Album Live will perform Abbey Road in its entirety at the Rady Shell at Jacobs Park. This is in downtown San Diego. It's a new venue. It's a wonderful location, and Abbey Road in the open air like that's going to be a lot of fun to listen to. Finally, in live Beatles-related music stuff, on October 23rd, guitarist Fred Benedetti will celebrate his 64th birthday with a special show at Dizzy's. Benedetti is well known for his Beatle tributes, so I think we can pretty much figure out he's going to be 64, which Beatles song he's going to be highlighting that night. I also want to mention, while we're speaking about the Beatles, that in related news, acclaimed bassist Nathan East from the famous East family of San Diego appears on Ringo Starr's upcoming Change the World EP that's going to be out September 24th. He plays upright bass on a cover of Bill Haley's classic Rock Around the Clock. And I want to also pass along condolences because Joey Ambrose, the saxophonist on Rock Around the Clock, just passed away this week. So condolences to his family. And finally, in Beatles-related news, this just seems like a good place to remind everybody that guitarist Wayne Riker's new album is called A Beatles Overture from A to Z and is now available via his website exclusively. Riker is the 2019 Lifetime San Diego Music Achievement Award winner. In upcoming new release news, amongst the releases to look forward to are Angels and Airwaves Live Forums, which is out September 24th, Adam Orr with Edge of Today, Def Club with Productive Disruption out January 6th, El Perro with Hair of 2022. El Perro, of course, is a dog, so that kind of makes sense. Razor Knights with Last Days. New and upcoming singles include Bella Kay with Drowning, Sluka, Happy in Your World, Switchfoot with The Bones of Us and If I Were You, and Waves with Caviar. And you have new videos to look forward to with Jason Mraz's Be Where Your Feet Are, Dave Preston with The Other Side of Nowhere, and of course, Sluka with Isn't It Strange. And here's a little bit of random San Diego news. 70s era punk band The Cardiac Kids have a new 7-inch vinyl single out, Mary Young Back with Bit of Your Love. There's also a new Jim Ryan project, Jim being, of course, the lead singer of The Cardiac Kids. His new album is called 2.0, and he actually has a few remakes of The Cardiac Kids' old songs on there. Check it out. Classic rock fans have two kind of fun options coming up in the near future. On August 28th, you'll be able to catch a set from the Doors concert experience band Strange Days, as well as local band Clapton Hook, playing an homage to the music of Cream at the Courtyard. Classic rock fans don't want to miss that. Meanwhile, former Eagles guitarist Don Felder plays a benefit concert for serving seniors October 2nd at the Marriott Marquis at the San Diego Marina. We're coming up on the Halloween holiday season, and there's a couple of really great shows that you will not want to miss. Luckily, they're not on the same date. On October 22nd, there's going to be the Hallow Grass Cruise, which is going to sail around Mission Bay. Music on board will be provided by an amazing lineup of J.W. Jones, The Farmers, The Sleepwalkers, Whitney Shea, the Euphoria Brass Band, Safety Orange, Ben Powell, and Robin Henkel. As long as you don't get seasick, this is going to be one heck of a Halloween party. You don't want to miss it. Meanwhile, one of San Diego's greatest Halloween traditions is making a comeback. Rocket from the Crypt. Yep. RFTC is going to be playing October 29th at the Observatory. Rocket from the Crypt's Halloween shows are the stuff of legend. This is something you absolutely do not want to miss. You don't have to dress up, but it's a lot more fun if you do. We'll see you there. And finally, in random San Diego music news, the Tourmaliners, that great surf band that's got a lot of 60s music in their repertoire, is going to release a new single, Stolen Dance, on August 20th. The release will be accompanied by a music video filmed on location at Tourmaline Surf Park, naturally, and at area San Diego businesses such as Bird Surf Shed, Leilani's Hawaiian Cafe, and Tio Leo's Lounge, where they're a regular band on occasional Tuesdays. Check them out. And finally, we here at MusicSceneSD TV would like to take a moment to extend our condolences to the friends and family of Matt Hoyt and Dennis Kaplinger, two major parts of the San Diego music scene who passed away this last week. We'll miss you. Hello and welcome back to MusicSceneSD TV, where we take an in-depth look at San Diego's music scene. This show is brought to you by EnterTalkMedia.com and local umbrella media publishers. Thank you so much. Now, we're here with Emily Bartell of Barn on Production, and she books shows at Navajo Live, Humphreys Backstage Live, and numerous other places. And I think the key here that people out there would want to know, what are you looking for in a band that you want to book?
Well, hello, everybody. Yeah, good question. As you all know, I love original music, but I also book cover bands. I am always focused on solo artists, singer-songwriters, and pretty much just about just as long as you're a musical artist, I'm looking to see what I can do with you. But yes, there's always room for cover bands, and my personal passion is Americana folk rock. That's what I love, and blues bands, blues rock.
Okay, well, there you heard it. Check in with her at Barn on Productions on Facebook, for example. You'll be able to find out much more information from her there. In the meantime, we're going to bring up our musical guest for the day, and that is guitar player extraordinaire, Wayne Riker. Wayne, come on down. Now, Wayne has had a long and storied career. He's written for guitar magazines. He's written music books. He's recorded a great series of albums. He's been playing for roughly, 60 years now, approximately?
55.
55. Feels like 60, though, right?
Yeah, it does.
So you have a great book out called 50 Years.
Yeah, my memoirs, which is 50 years, 50 bands, $50.
Okay, that's a truism then and now, right? $50.
Pretty much.
$50 a person.
Oh yeah, you get those phone calls. Hey, you got a gig? How much? $50.
Yeah,
it's been going on for many decades.
What inspired you to write the book?
My students actually. I've taught guitar for concurrently while performing. Over the last 45 years or so, and. A couple of my students said, you ought to write a book. You've done a lot of gigs in all different styles and had a lot of good stories and adventures in the music business on all different, myriad stages. As I've played literally on every professional stage, it's been an advantage for me, being able to play all different styles and get employment and keep in the business financially by playing all different styles. So a couple of my students said, you ought to write about your many years and all the different performing capacities. And I said, I don't know. I mean, what's that going to be compared to, say, Tom Petty or B.B. King? They put out, they've had a million different stories. And they said, but you have your own story.
It's true.
And I thought, oh, yeah, I guess I do. So, and as you know, as you've read through it,
Yes.
A lot of it is not really just, funny anecdotes, but it's the musical challenges, that I had to go through from one, style of music to another and, getting my butt kicked and a lot of tough love. But that's how I got better. I learned from all the different, myriad musicians I played with over the years, that really I learned from and helped me, proceed to the next gig.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's one way or another. All those experiences add up to us now, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't be making the music you are today without those experiences. So now,
right.
I mean, you're renowned for your guitar playing. As a matter of fact, you won the 2017 San Diego Music Award, Lifetime Achievement Award, I think it was.
That's correct.
That's
yeah.
correct. Now,
Yeah.
out of all the instruments you could have picked, why guitar?
The Beatles,
Ah,
yeah. I mean,
Ed Sullivan.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, well, when they came off the plane, I grew up in New York City, and my high school at the time was, 8 miles away from JFK where they came in.
Mm-hmm.
And my homeroom attendance that day, I had 35 in my ninth grade homeroom, and 17 of the 18 girls were absent. And, the guys were there, But, no, they obviously influenced a whole generation of players. And, before 1964, in my neighborhood, for example, in the Bronx, very few people played musical instruments. You were kind of, we kind of laugh at them if they played a musical instrument. We were out playing stickball and on the streets and, causing trouble in the city. And all of a sudden, when the Beatles came out, I was like, wow, this is cool to play an instrument, because they were really the first group where you knew the identity of each person.
Each player, right?
Yeah, Ringo plays drums, and who knew the drummer of any group before that? They were all studio players and backup bands. So it inspired. I say, wow, this is really cool. Each person has an identity on the instrument. And then, of course, the hair and the fact that there were screaming girls. And I'll be the first of hundreds to admit, the 14, 15-year-old teenager, boys at the time, we got to play an instrument to get attention for girls, That was the reality. And so I picked guitar. I had no musical background whatsoever. And fortunately, there was a 13-year-old kid in the building I lived in the Bronx who had been playing guitar since he was 9. And the guy was a wunderkind, unbelievable. He was 13. He sounded like Eric Clapton, Mike Bloomfield at the time. And so he gave me 7 guitar lessons and, a 13-year-old kid. And he was playing down at the Cafe Wah in 1966, the same time, Jimmy James was playing there, who was Jimi Hendrix. And really, unfortunately for him, his name was Diane Grody. And he went to Music and Art High School in the city where Laura Nero went, a lot of famous, people that came out of that school. Unfortunately, he was ill-affected by LSD, and about 4 years into what would have been a brilliant guitar career for him, really turned out to be a mess. He still, lives in the Bronx, but it really, threw a monkey wrench into his career. It's really sad. But he was great to me, and he inspired me to play guitar and showed me the right stuff to get me going. So I had the enthusiasm. And from that point on, I was just hooked on it, And then when I went through college, I got into college to get out of the draft, like a lot of people did at that time. And I majored in English. I got a BA in English degree. And my English advisor in my senior year said, hey, what do you want to do, Riker? You want to go to graduate school? And I said, no, I'm really getting into guitar, and I've been playing in bands. And he said, man, go out and do it. Have a party. Have a great time. I said, really? I said, okay. So he was a real inspiration to me because, he validated the fact that I could go out and maybe do this, as a living, and I never looked back.
That's amazing. Now, you've put out a series of albums, which actually kind of dovetails nicely into what we just talked about with the Beatles and Ed Sullivan. But tell me about your Beatles Overture recording that you just put out.
Just came out a few days ago, and it's a product of, as you know, the live show I did, The Beatles from A to Z. And I thought, what the heck? I I have a good ability to play chord melodies, and as you heard, I did a lot of the chord melodies of the Beatle tunes A to Z, 22 tracks, and it was pretty successful. I did it. I rented out the Brooks Theater in Oceanside, the Moxie where you were at, and a few other places. It went pretty well. But then I realized, wait a minute, let me see if I can do a CD with it. So I truncated it down to about a 35-minute CD, and I now had the advantage of overdubbing high-energy electric parts in there.
Okay.
So as you'll hear, I copy a lot of the orchestrational parts that the Beatles did, and a lot of them are sort of in the Stairway to Heaven format, where the song will start off acoustically, and then it'll just take off into the electric high-voltage stuff with a lot of those orchestrated parts. Mostly were not guitar parts, right? There were trumpets and harpsichords and all that. So I copied a lot of those parts of the kind of high-voltage electric guitar stuff, and then it'll wind back acoustic on some of them. It's pretty much an overture. There's hardly any space between each tune. So it's almost like musical theater. It just medleys from one to the other. And I'm really happy with this slide guitar in there, some wah-wah. There's some great overdubbing effects. But you'll hear a lot of the authentic horn parts that the Beatles did and harpsichord part, like in My Life and all that. And so I'm really proud of it. I think it came out really great. And
It's phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy about it, and see what happens.
Yeah.
But glad to get it out.
You've written a lot of columns on guitar playing and stuff, and I believe you've published several books with Hal Leonard. Is that
Alfred.
Alfred? Okay.
Yeah, Alfred.
And how did that come about?
Well, I was very fortunate to land a gig with the National Guitar Workshop in 1989, and they were doing guitar camps. They had started in Connecticut, and they decided to open up a campus in California. So they had a little application in Guitar Player magazine. It was like a little postcard. And I thought, let me fill this out. And they didn't say who they were. And I thought maybe they're making a directory of guitar teachers. Well, about a year later, they contacted me and they said, hey, we like what you wrote out on this card, and I see you've taught for a while and blah, blah, blah. And so they, long story short, they eventually auditioned thousands of people that applied for it, and they picked 12 of us to start the California campus. And so I was there 17 years, and I became kind of the blues guitar guy. A lot of great players came out of there. Adam Levy, who went on to play with Tracy Chapman on that big album. He does all the solos. And he worked with Norah Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, he was with Norah Jones like 5 years. He's the guitar guy. Adam Levy. Jody Fisher came out of there, great jazz player. Mimi Fox, who's now one of the great jazz players in the world. And so we had a really great faculty of 12 that first year. And about 2 years in, the director said, hey, you know what? Can you guys write a curriculum? A really good curriculum for the students each summer. So I did mine, and they said we got a great connection with Alfred Publishing in Van Nuys, California. And so that's how it started. So I got my first book out, Mastering Blues Guitar. I've written about 11 since then, up through about 2006, and they're all worldwide distributed and great stuff. And then the Guitar Player magazine people called about 5 years in and said, hey, we like the stuff you're writing in your books. You want to do some instructional columns? And I said, oh, yeah. I mean, boy, that's, that was like, I'll take that, And so I was real fortunate to do some guitar instructional columns in Guitar Player between 98 and 2001. And then Acoustic Guitar magazine, I've had a couple, Premier Guitar. So I was really fortunate to get my foot in the door in that. But it's like anything in the business. I mean, once you do one thing, it opens up a door to another.
Well, except for the caveat that you've got to actually have to have a certain level of talent to get to that level and then take it further. So it's just, it's wonderful to go to NAMM, for example, and see a display of your guitar books there for all the rockers walking by to check out. And that's just amazing.
Yeah, especially a kid from the Bronx who was self-taught basically, and musically not really interested in music, but once the obsession started, I was practicing 12 hours a day and, in band after band. And it was just like, this is so great, But it is a good feeling. And, a lot of it comes from just having the musical knowledge. to be able to understand. I did go to GIT, which, in the early days, I took a year off and studied at GIT with Howard Roberts, Pat Martino, Tommy Tedesco, all these great players in LA. And that year was really important because I really filled in gaps musically that I didn't have, kind of being self-taught.
Right. Well, you can never know it all.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's always going to be some technique like that.
Oh, absolutely.
What have you got coming up next this year? You got this album just came out, so are you already working on new music?
No, this may be it.
This may be it. Now, I have to say, I've heard you say that before, and I've got the 4 albums since then. So
that's right. It's about 4 albums since then. I'm coming up on 71, but I feel like I've done everything I wanted to do. I feel completely, satisfied, satiated with everything I've done. And the Beatle thing just may be, the end cap to everything. But I've done 14 CDs, one a year since 2008. And it's been great. I've included 79 local musicians throughout 11 of those albums,
well, that's wonderful.
All the different styles and players. And it's been great to have them involved. And I feel like I've really, this Beatle one seems to me to be a great, almost finale to everything, but we'll see. You never know.
I'm hopeful, and I'm actually pretty certain, like The Who, we will be seeing more Wayne Riker albums in the future. So
I'm looking forward to reading your book.
Oh, the book is great. The book is great. Highly, highly recommended.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah, I'll get you a copy of the memoirs. Yeah,
excellent. So here we are on Music Scene SD TV once again. Wayne Riker will be doing a number for us in just a second. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to MusicSceneSD TV's Cool Stuff Corner, occasionally called the Gadget Corner, etc. This is my co-host for this segment, Michelle Palermo, and we have a new book here called Getting Nowhere Fast by Ray Brandis. What do you know about this?
Oh, well, isn't that about all our hometown hero bands?
Actually, that's very well put. This is about the hometown heroes, like the Unknowns, the Telltale Hearts, the Crawdaddies, the Penetrators, the Zeros, and dare I say it, even my own manual scan. Even if I wasn't in this book, this is still an essential read. If you want to know the stories about some of the best music to ever come out of San Diego, Ray Brandis did an incredible job of getting the facts and the information, put together a great read. There's fun photos in here. If you want to know about the Gravedigger 5 or the Dinettes or any of these other bands, this is the go-to source for books, for finding out about San Diego bands. Be sure to pick up a copy of Getting Nowhere Fast by Ray Brandis. You're going to love it. Welcome back to Music Scene SD TV. Right now, we're going to have a performance from 2017 San Diego Music Award Lifetime Achievement winner, Wayne Riker. Take it away, Wayne.
Fantastic. Thank you, Bart.
Music Scene SD TV with Wayne Riker, 2017 Lifetime Achievement Award winner, SDMAs. Thank you so much, Wayne. Cheers.